recording.
Start
Clicking the
before I get
button.
all my juices out.
Yeah.
I'm clicking the button.
No, I'm flowing.
Click at the button. I clicked the button.
Click at a button. You can name him like Rodney.
Yeah,
Both of them.
we ran
Both
out of
of them are
juice
named
immediately.
Rodney.
Well, no, one is Rod and the other one's Knee.
Oh my
but together, you just
God.
say, "Oh, I got Rodney."
Todd from The
like
Simpsons.
one's Tony and the other's Chestnut.
Yeah, Matt Stoney.
Yeah, Matt.
Contest is next week. I'm excited.
This is my favorite. Okay, this is the weirdest cold open ever because no one's gonna know why we're saying duo names because we don't have
Tune into the premium episode on the Patreon. No, welcome back to the oicast, except we're rebranding as the oilcast now, actually. We figured we would just add the extra letter. We're sponsored by RuPaul's Fracking Company. So, Lucas, what's your opinion on petroleum?
I did that.
All right, so both of them are covered in canola oil. Who's winning the twerk off? Huh?
Who and who?
Who is they? Who is we?
Chip and Dale, Rodney and Todney, whatever you guys were talking about earlier.
Pickle and Rick.
Rick and Morty.
Well, here's the thing. Which one's the 3D one from the new Chippendale movie?
I haven't seen that. How was it, Max?
It was okay. It was I watched it last weekend. I was fully expecting it to be absolutely fucking horrid, and it was fine. It was better than I was expecting, but not great. So
Sorry, what was it that you watched?
The new Chippendale movie.
Oh yeah, that looked fine.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I don't like that one of them is 3D. It makes sense in like the plot. He got like this CG surgery or something.
He got CG implants.
I don't really have an opinion on it yet, but I'm gonna just say that it is very, very funny that that the marketing for the movie that they made was that they went CG and stopped being 2D, as if they didn't have horrid, but like CG with them anyways, and was like, what do you call that? What do you call that art style that he has so it makes it look like he's 2D? Like Borderlands had it.
TFT
shell
shading?
Yeah, shell shading.
Yeah.
But as if they didn't just cell shade him and still made him 3D and then made fun of using 3D. I don't know.
Also, the ugly Sonic bits were pretty funny.
This is the hyper online artist and interest in animation talking 13-year-olds. So I don't know how much justification there is.
The live action with animation, honestly, is not as well implemented as it was with like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is
I was
depressing.
gonna say I think that's what kind of,
because Who Framed Roger Rabbit is the pinnacle of like that crossover. Like I mean, Space Jam isn't that good.
You know, I'm gonna keep talking about this, but I don't know if we've introduced ourselves yet.
I'm Max.
I'm Lucas.
El Don Durando here.
And that's everybody.
And that's
short.
all of
It's all of our friends that we have in the world.
with 3 friends and someone else.
I couldn't come up with something that wasn't my name fast enough. So.
You were put on the
Short
spot.
it
It's
is.
okay.
Oh no! You know what I should have done? I should have done the Obi-Wan hello there. Oh, that would have been better.
there.
General Andy.
But the Who Framed Roger Rabbit stuff is incredible to me. Have you guys seen the like behind the scenes of some of that and how they're able to like film it and make it look like that good?
Yeah, it's
No.
amazing. It's fucking crazy.
Well, I'll explain it for those who haven't. A lot of it was like working with the actors to like, because the thing that makes it the most believable is the like eyesight and eye line and everything. Because there's a
Eyeline
lot
and
of points of
interaction
the-
with
yeah,
objects.
There's a lot of points where the actors look directly into the eyes like of the animated characters and everything. That's because they had to have like props and everything to specifically look at, and then it was the animator's job to then just have it so they were looking directly at them to make it look consistent and everything else. Because that kind of stuff has been done before. There was like Mary Poppins or whatever, but the thing is that in Mary Poppins they were all just kind of looking I don't know, blankly into space where there was vaguely something, and the animators, it more was just an animation right next to a live action person, but there's a neat set of rules that they had in terms of like looking at people and how there was like both animated water and also like cartoon water depending on like who poured it and who drank it. Like Roger would like spit like real water or something, and so they'd have like a hose thing or whatever spray out of him. Or they'd be using like the weasels. I think there were a handful of times where they'd have like real guns or whatever.
Yeah, they're holding real guns, so they're like 3D guns floating around the actual set. But yet
stuff like that.
They were covered up with the weasel's hand. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, but that's basically I just think that's fascinating, and it's a shame that it has not been done even close to that level. I think since.
I think the limitations that they had in the 70s when they were making, I think it was the 70s when they made that.
88.
88. Okay, so the 80s when they made
still.
it, they had such limitations where they were really thinking about that. Nowadays, with like the new Space Jam movie, they were just like, I don't know, put him on a green screen and have him play some basketball, and we'll just draw Bugs Bunny next to him.
Put
Put
the
him on
Iron Put the Iron
put him on a
Giant
tortilla.
and Clockwork Orange and every other IP we own in the background, and we'll make $1 million. Don't worry.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
like
Buff
Like
Garfield.
the crowds in Space Jam. I just saw like reviews of it online. I didn't watch that movie, but
Yeah,
it
same.
it felt
That
a
movie.
little bit egregious. The implementation in Roger Rabbit feels good. Even like the scenes where he runs into Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny when he's falling off the building.
Well, I mean, I think
it
in
feels
those,
natural.
yeah, in those it feels like it's a universe that exists, and it's kind of cool seeing them interact. Like the entire scene where Daffy Duck and Donald Duck are both talking to each other and
Yeah, they're
riffing on each other
performing
and
and,
everything.
yeah.
That works because
This is the last time I work with a duck with a speech impediment.
and it feels genuine. Yeah, it feels genuine and everything. And now there's a bunch of million movies like now where there aren't crossovers for the sake of it being anything interesting. It's look how many IPs we own, and we're going to make money from showing how many IPs we own. That's just what it-
AKA Free Guy.
And someone's going to watch a whole movie just to see LeBron James or whoever. I didn't read
it
reviews
was
of
yeah, it
Space
was
Jam.
because who else would
I
it
know that, but I
Yeah.
don't know like the random characters that are in it.
Everybody that Warner Brothers owns.
They had didn't they have Don Cheadle? Wasn't he the antagonist? Am
Yeah,
I
he was the
being
bad
stupid?
guy.
He was the bad guy. That's so cool. Good for him. Not really.
Wait, it wasn't.
No, my one thing with Who Framed Roger Rabbit is how did they get everyone to be so horny for Jessica Rabbit all the time?
What do you mean? Just her
You gotta-
existing. Like, what do you mean?
She's not real though.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Your
like
point?
on set? Like how
On set,
How do you
they get
act?
everyone to be horny?
How do you act that horny?
Yeah.
It was the
they-
80s.
they
They,
had-
were
they
all
have-
still horny.
Yeah, it was the '80s. That's your answer. That's a good answer.
Constantly on party drugs.
They were
The
yeah, they were,
Quaaludes weren't banned yet.
yeah.
I was gonna say something about a cardboard cutout, but I think I like Quaaludes more. That's a better answer.
Quaaludes. Speaking of being horny on Quaaludes, who up raising the frog right now?
Who up bricking they Morty, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to smoke that shit that made Crazy Frog.
I'm just scrolling through Twitter and I see a Crazy Frog tweet, which why is
Verified
crazy
account.
verified account for Crazy Frog. I didn't know this. Who's
At
running
True
this?
Crazy Frog.
Who's paying
Crazy Frog
somebody
is-
to run this? And they
takes a
said,
break from riding his
"Who's up
motorcycle."
crazying they frog right now?" And I don't know what that means. I don't want to know what that means. But most of the replies to that tweet are just images of Crazy Frog asking about his penis, which I
How
found
else he gonna pee?
wonderful.
Who
They
up
did not
gummy
have
they
to
bear?
animate a tiny little. Like, they did not need to do that. There's
Well,
no reason
okay,
for them
but
to
he
do
would be
that.
anatomically incorrect then, Max. Think about that.
Yeah, think about every cartoon character ever that doesn't wear pants. They don't
They're
fucking
tucked.
draw the. They're tucked.
They're neutered. They have
Tucked
the
where?
cloaca.
They're not wearing pants.
all cartoon characters without anything visible if they don't have pants have cloacas. That's why
Yeah,
it's
they're
covered.
like they're genetically modified. It's
Yeah.
like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, so they're all females.
Or like
everyone's
chick-
just like hermaphrodites.
or like
but,
chickens that are
reversed.
stuffed with more chemicals to make them taste better and suffer more.
I was
Yeah.
that ruined my whole day. When did I screenshot that and send it? Does it say a time?
Like a week ago.
Whenever that
9:32
was.
PM. You were
And it was like
Forgot you were-
okay, yeah, it's 5 o'clock, and I see that it ruined the rest of my day.
I forgot you were actually referencing something. I thought we were just saying words.
Oh no, yeah, no, I
Just no.
there's a
I'm
screenshot
keeping
there
this
that I
podcast
put.
flowing, Lucas.
I'm rolling.
They
I'm
call
trolling.
me Segway Sam.
They call me the river because I'm making this shit flow. Know what I'm saying?
Me after eating Taco
They
Bell
call me-
breakfast in bed.
Have you guys seen that clip of Snoop Dogg talking about rappers saying, "You know what I'm saying"? He,
No.
I don't
so
think
he's,
so.
he's on a talk show and he's like,
I know what you're saying.
and he goes, "Well, at that time, it's just like all everybody would just go, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?" It was just really funny. Like he was explaining how every rapper says that way too much from his generation, and then he just follows it up by saying it as the end of his sentence. And
you seen-
it was amazing.
Have you seen the Snoop Dogg and Andy Samberg Corona can commercials?
I have not.
No.
They're all over baseball, and it's literally like they try and make Andy Samberg just Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yep.
And they're like sitting on a beach, and he's like, what are we doing today, Snoop? Snoop's like, absolutely nothing. He's like, all right, I'll put that in my calendar. He goes, no, you're not. And he like grabs his phone and like throws it in like a bucket of ice. And he's like,
Hell yeah.
oh, good plan, Snoop D-O double G. And he goes, you can just call me Snoop. You don't need the dog afterwards. And he goes, all right, Snoop, cool. And then he like whispers and looks over and goes, D-O double G. And it's like that is the most predictable thing ever. Like he can play other characters.
No, he can't. He has one character.
He's typecast.
He's typecast.
Reliable.
Every Lonely Island song, every SNL skit, every TV show or movie he's in, he's just playing Andy Samberg. Oh, he's great. I love him, but he's always the same guy.
Yeah, it's like Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage just plays Nicolas Cage.
The one that's about Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, the one where
Or is that
Nicolas
old?
Cage plays Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage. Billed as Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Based on Nicolas Cage.
Okay. You know when you look on IMDb and it says that, this actor played this character, and then sometimes there's a parenthetical that says like as this person. I never
Yeah.
understood what that meant until semi-recently, like probably like, I don't know, like a year and a half ago. And I realized, oh, that means that's what they were billed as. And the first time I realized it was when I looked up someone who was like recently married and changed their last name. And it said like as this, and it said their maiden name. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's what that means. Since then, I have paid a little bit more attention to that sometimes. And it's really annoying because like sometimes somebody will have a hyphen and sometimes they won't. But I found one recently where they just completely misspelled some woman's name. Like just a really bad typo, like just like I before E, like type of mess up or something. I forget who it was, and I wish I took a screenshot. But I just felt really bad. I'm like, wow, this is like a really high budget movie, and they just straight up spelled this woman's first name wrong.
It's not enough to make a mistake. It's that there's now a giant neon sign for everyone to look at about this mistake there, and that's potentially going to be their legacy and will not be edited.
Right. Like that's set in stone on that movie.
That's also a thing where with streaming and stuff, there is a chance it could be edited more quickly and briefly. I was watching I finished the first part of Stranger Things season 4 or whatever with my family, and one of the like first earlier episodes, I don't know if it was edited recently or if when it happened, but there was some stuff. I'm trying to think. There was some stuff because it's just horror and killing people or whatever, where they give a warning. Because I think this was shortly after, getting political, after the Olvade stuff, the school shooting stuff, and so they gave a like warning saying like this was recorded before all of this happened, just as a heads up in case anyone is sensitive.
Just like a content warning, yeah.
Yeah. It's just content specifically for that, and I'd have to check like when that happened versus when it was released or anything. If that was something where they might have, I think it might have been updated like recently after. Or something.
It's easy with stuff like Netflix too. They can add stuff in.
Again, that's also a thing that's Netflix. It's a whole other can of worms. But yeah.
Well, speaking of being billed as something, I wonder if there's anything on IMDb about the one episode right after. In Friends, right after Courtney Cox married David Arquette, and they put Arquette.
Oh yeah, after everyone's name, that one's funny.
Yeah.
It's like David Schwimmer Arquette.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
If you look on that website, I mean, on that episode on IMDb, it'll probably say like as David Schwimmer Arquette. Yeah. So so I'm in a class where
because you go to school,
we're talking about different roles in post-production for movies and TV shows and stuff, and we were talking about the different designations and also kind of the different roles of people and the different union classifications and whatever. And we talked about this guy whose name is Doc Kane, and Doc Kane is on every movie ever. He is a ADR mixer and or like so he records ADR, which is the dialogue replacement that they do afterwards. So like if location sound is bad, and he also does a lot of the dialogue recording for Disney's animated films. So he at one point, according to my professor, maxed out the number of credits that IMDb would allow people to have connected to them.
That's insane.
Wow.
That's impressive.
It's absolutely insane. He's on, all of the Star Wars movies. He's on every animated Disney film. He'll show up on random like non-Disney things every once in a while, but he's on every single Disney thing. His name is Doc Kane, and he's just a re-recording, or not a re-recording. He's a ARD recorder. Like that's all he does, and he fucking loves it apparently. And it was very funny. He's got a pretty cool mustache. I'm about to link you guys something.
Is it cooler than mine?
I would say yes. I would say yes it is. And my professor put a quote under a picture of him, and it said, "Man, look at me and my cool mustache and my tight pants that make me love ADR," or something. It was really stupid.
This shirt does go hard.
Yeah, that's pretty. that reminds me of what year was it? Was it sophomore year of high school, where I gave Will my Hawaiian shirt, and he rocked it in his school picture.
Oh, probably.
Oh, I don't remember that was.
I don't know. Reminiscing on high school.
So real quick, Doc Kane, it says in the blurb when you just Google his name, it says he's worked on over 500 films since 1977.
I was gonna say that he did the film equivalent of like maxing out something in a video game.
Yeah,
where
he
it's not
maxed out
supposed to
RuneScape
spawn.
in
Yeah,
real life.
he maxed out RuneScape in real life.
1984, rather.
He duped the items in real life into the film world. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, he literally he maxed out. He's on all the Marvel movies. He literally he has touched every piece of Disney media and then every piece of Tim Burton media, and it's kind of ridiculous. His IMDb page is
genuinely
just
impressive. Like,
full.
I mean, that's a lot of work. Like, that is not an easy feat. Like, you can tell he's actually cares about what he's doing and working that hard.
Yeah, he must like it because you go to his IMDb page and you can scroll for forever. I've been scrolling for the entirety of this sentence, and I'm not even to the year 2000 yet.
God damn.
It's insane.
Yeah. But I was going to say, speaking of IMDb pages and reminiscing, I was recently listening to an episode of the legendary podcast Cumtown, which their bit is that they hate the podcast and they want it to be over, and they just try and waste time now. And their most recent episode was them just listening to multiple episodes of the Reminiscing with Gene DiNapoli podcast.
Oh, I thought they were going to be listening to their own show.
No, well, that's what they were. They were like, we should honestly just do that and re-upload old episodes and see if people know it. Do you guys know who Gene DiNapoli is?
Wait, you joke about that? The Rooster Teeth podcast literally did that. They recorded. They were only on episode 380, and they recorded episode 500. So then when episode 500 came out, it was like a 3-year-old episode. That's incredible.
See, that's just like almost overselling yourself.
But it was funny because they
really
planned
fucking
so
funny.
well. Like one of the guys wore a wedding band, even though he wasn't married yet, because he knew he was going to be married by the time the episode came out.
But
Like,
also,
that
the
is impressive.
shitty part was they changed what type of microphones they used, so the audio quality really improved until episode 499, and then on episode 500 they sounded like shit again.
Yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
like I started watching that episode, and I was like,
Something's
something's
wrong here.
off, but maybe it's just me. I don't know, whatever. And I'm watching it, and I couldn't figure it out. I forgot. They said it like.
Then they start talking about
near
current
the
events
end.
and nothing's
No,
relevant.
they purposely didn't. Like they were like very careful not to.
It was like when we
talked
did the
about-
episode where we were just in Discord.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
talked about Gamergate.
Yeah.
Noah, tell me about this little character, Gene DiNapoli.
Yeah, so looking at the picture I posted in the topics channel, can you guess who Gene DiNapoli is and what he does?
No, I've cheated and Noah told me already,
yeah.
but it's still
I
entertaining.
have a feeling that he is in the mafia.
You're not far off, Andy. What's your
That
guess?
was actually my guess.
No, he's the world's foremost Elvis impersonator. He's Mr. Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
And so this shirt commends the occasion of his first 15 guests that he had on the podcast. When you go on his website to buy it, you can't select a size. You can just order it.
Donnie, be honest, did you order one?
No, I want to though, but they do that in the Cumtown episode. But anyway, his most recent episode is it's just fascinated me because it's 15 minutes long. All he does is plug the shows that he's like putting on and like performing at. One of which is the Real Italian Broadway Christmas Special. And
so cool.
There's like all these like, people who just want to be like 50s and 60s lounge singers or like 70s lounge singers. Right. And everyone has a more Italian name. Like the first guy he lists is like literally Kevin Martini. it's like we got Andrew Cuomo, like
Tony Spaghetti, Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, like
James Gandolfini.
We got a virtual toy drive coming up at the Maria Ferraro Children's Hospital. Yeah, we have Vinny Gambini,
Vinny the Tube Snake.
But literally, they're just more Italian names, and it's a 15-minute podcast episode. All he does is plug his shows, play the ads that he sells on his podcast, which are like the Bronx Italian car auto service.
So it's a radio ad. He has a radio ad for a podcast.
There's one that it literally sounds like someone called and left him a voicemail, and he uploaded that as the advertisement.
Hey, Gene, it's me. I want you to maybe make a radio ad for me. Put it on your podcast.
No, but like think of also the audio quality of when you get a voicemail.
Right.
And
garbage.
then upload it into a podcast.
Sometimes my mom, I will try to call home and she won't answer her cell phone, and then I'll call the house phone because we still have one of those. And
same.
She will pick up the house phone, and the quality of it is so bad that I literally will say, all right, cool. All right, I'm going to hang up on you. Go find your cell phone. And then I'll call her cell phone because I cannot stand talking to her through the damn house phone. It's so bad.
But it's just a really fascinating thing to me. I'm not trying to steal a bit from another podcast. I was just genuinely fascinated by Gene DiNapoli and his first 15 guests, which, he had Tito Puente Jr. on there.
Dude, no way. I love that guy. I don't know who that is.
You know who Tito Puente is?
Do I?
He's like the king of Latin jazz.
No.
Like Oye Como Va was his song. Like all that
okay.
shit. Like you've heard Tito Puente songs. He's awesome. And another episode they are in is they have Peter. They talk about Peter Lemongello Jr.
That's a name.
Son of Peter Lemongello, who
As you can imagine.
who was a famous singer in the 70s. Who he's famous because he literally invented the infomercial because he made an album and was trying to sell it. He sold 1 million albums just by having infomercials of himself singing.
He's the Eve of this situation. He's one of the first sinners who caused everything to go downhill.
You got to respect the hustle. Honestly.
After he was done singing, he worked in construction and then proceeded to commit arson and then blame it on some baseball players.
That's cool as shit.
And like everything just feels like it's mob related. And he said in an interview one time that he's like, what the American people need is a white singer rock star. They need him fast, they need him now, they need him clean. It's like, dude, you're just acting like a white supremacist.
Well, I mean, to be an Elvis...
Had enough of not white people.
That's what America needs.
To be an Elvis impersonator and then also still be talking about that is pretty good, though, because the whole thing with Elvis was the producer that made him famous said, we need a white guy to sing black people music.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally, like, the whole thing. Like, they're just these Italian people. They're very into their singing.
All right, so we like all this black people music.
Can
Can we make them not black?
Can
Can we
exactly.
work that?
Also
How
in
can
the
we profit
episode-
off of this and not deal with black people?
It's horrible.
Well, when in the episode where Gene DiNapoli's talking about Peter Lemongello Jr., he's like, "We got a curveball of a guest coming up tonight. The curveball is that she's not white."
Oh my god.
Like, literally, I think that's what he means by the curveball.
That's
We're in a
awful.
movie.
It's like I'll. He's just.
That's
There was
incredible.
one. he called into the Kelly Clarkson show one time, Gene did, and because she sang an Elvis song, he's like, "Thank you so much for playing my favorite Elvis song. You know, I played that song back in 1993 with Elvis's original drummer and backup singers. I've been married with my wife for 23 years. We got married after 8 dates because I was spending so much money. I figured it'd be cheaper to marry her."
Do you think this guy's gonna try to die on the toilet like Elvis?
Dude, probably. But he ends it with, and as Elvis would have said, "Well, thank you very much."
Does he really? Oh, every
Yes.
episode? Every episode?
No. Just that one time he called into the Kelly Clarkson show.
That's better. I thought you meant like his sign off from the freaking podcast was.
No,
Thank you very much.
the podcast episode
God,
I
that'd be
listened
so
to, all he
fucking
did
cool.
was talk about how he was really hoping we all had a good Thanksgiving, and he ends it with like, "God bless you all, may he keep you in the palm of his hand and hold you tightly, and God bless America."
I saw an ad the other day. I was watching I made a Peacock account, and so I could watch.
Sorry, I gotta say real quickly, but while it's
What?
still on my mind and we don't get off topic, I keep looking at this shirt, and it's like Moses with the 10 Commandments tablet, except if it was printed on a shirt and was with a bunch of AI generated Roman Italian names. That's all I keep thinking about.
Yeah.
This feels like a relic you would find like in the Sistine Chapel and
Anthony Liguori,
this burned in the Library of
Jimmy
Alexandria.
Clanton, Tony Darrow.
Sorry, keep
Imagine
talk
if
about-
this is what the Rosetta Stone was.
a nuclear bomb is going to go off. It's going to be a dirty bomb, and there's going to be nuclear holocaust and everything. And this is going to be one of the only things that remains for the new era. And this is going to be the new the first 15 commandments. Sorry, continue with Peacock. I just need to get that out of my system. I realize
if you will.
I'm done with you.
But anyway, yeah, I wanted to maybe watch Psych. Was my original plan, but
Is
then
that on Peacock now?
it's on Peacock now. Yeah, it was on Amazon Prime, but then it got
I know.
it got
That's why
taken
we used
off.
to watch it.
Yeah, so it's on Peacock, and
Cringe capitalism.
what I ended up watching instead, for a few episodes, actually, I watched like the first season, was Modern Family, because I'd really only ever seen like episodes in passing, and I always thought it was kind of funny, but here's the thing with Modern Family, right? It's shot like The Office is shot, but The Office is set up to be like, oh, there's a documentary crew making a documentary about what it's like working in an office or whatever. Like, they kind of explain why there's like talking head interviews in between things. They kind of explain why the camera people are there. Modern Family didn't do that. There's just sometimes the characters are talking to you in an interview setting, and sometimes they're just living their life, and it's like, why are these people being filmed? I'm very confused. So
I felt the same way about that show because I would see it like in passing at like my parents' house whenever I'd be home.
it's very funny. There's some fucking hilarious moments. Like, Phil Dunphy is actually like a great TV dad character. He's
Yes,
fantastic.
because he's unconventional.
He's fucking great, but the way that it's shot just like doesn't make much sense. Anyway, when I was watching that show, I got an advertisement, and I am a dirty ad block user because I don't like how invasive ads are on.
Nah,
like,
fuck it.
you know,
I used to not use ad block, but now ads are so bad.
they're so bad.
I use ads. I use ad blockers all the time. I even have a network oh boy, can't talk. I even have a network wide ad blocker because so it doesn't show up on my phone or my TVs on Roku or anything like that. It's freaking ridiculous.
The thing that pisses me off, though, like just a side bit about ads, is when you get an ad on YouTube and it's 2 15-second ads, which I would almost be less upset if it was 1 30-second ad.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what's so cool with those is I've watched videos that are 10 seconds long and give 2 15-second ads that are unskippable. Before
Oh, yeah.
then, it
My
takes more
favorite
time to
meme
get in there.
It was
so
like
cool.
it was an unskippable 45-second political ad for like Ron DeSantis or something.
I'm Ron Johnson here for Wisconsin.
And
Yeah.
it said, and then you could see the title of the video, and it was like how to give CPR or something. like
Yeah, I was gonna say,
how to
I saw it.
perform the Heimlich maneuver, and it was just
Yeah, I
like
was
a
gonna say.
45.
And your pregnant wife who is dying.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I
Awesome.
saw one of those where someone was trying to like me desperately trying to figure out how to do CPR, and then the unskippable ad, and he was doing one of those like Chad whatever smile faces, like looking into it for 15 seconds. No,
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, no, but like
I hate
the ads, like watching an ad before a YouTube video or watching it, like in this case on Peacock or whatever, like they show like a 45-second ad break and then you can go and watch it, or like Hulu, whatever. Like I'm okay with that. It's like, here's an ad and then you get your thing. And I don't feel like it's very invasive. The ones that are really invasive for me are mobile games are the worst, because those are just cheaply made and they're just trying to make as much money as possible. So they pour ads in front of you. But to like interrupt you in the middle of like trying to get a new high score in a mobile game, and they're just like, yeah, but watch this Clash of Clans ad. You're like, no, fuck you. And also just the banners on every website are just so egregious that I just can't deal. So that's why I have an ad
We're talking
blocker.
about like the fandom wikis, like when you look up like something about like a video game,
I
like a
was-
movie,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
was
you
going
can't
off.
pull them up on mobile because
Right,
it
you
takes
can't
up
scroll.
95% of your screen, because also there's a video playing in there about someone's car insurance.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. I was gonna say, Donnie, you use Android. If you get
Sometimes.
sometimes if you get Firefox and Android, it has uBlock Origin.
Oh, does it built in?
Yeah,
I used to use
built
Brave
in.
browser, which is the same thing.
It's so good.
So
Also, YouTube Vans, rip in peace.
So I have been way too familiar with fandom.wiki, and for some of you who don't know, I'm a big four-eyed knucklehead spazatron dweebus who puts a lot of time into video games, especially The Binding of Isaac, which I have 100% multiple times. And some of the
Isaac
only
has been bound at the
and
hands
some,
of Lucas.
And some of the only reliable wikis that show all this stuff is Fandom Wiki, and it is absolutely the most abhorrent setup for any like website ever. When you get into an article, it then puts an ad there, but then you have to like press the X. It's not just an ad, it's one of their own videos for their website, and you have to press the X while it's still in the ad, because then sometimes it just doesn't work and then constantly connects you there, and then sometimes it will also do a border ad, as in like around the entire border of the screen. So like I've seen ones where it's like a Coors Light or like something just surrounding the entire it's like there's frost like on the outside of it or something, that's a corrosive sludge that's on everything.
Yeah, and you can't find
then-
the X button, and like when you
You
try
know,
to
ex-
scroll, it just follows you.
And there's also a banner ad on that's at the bottom, and you have to figure out which X is the right X for those, and to not press the.
And the people
thing
who make
itself.
the ads now are just putting X's on it. So then when you try
Yeah.
to click the right X, it's the wrong X, and it takes you to their website instead.
The porn ads have finally gone mainstream.
And then if you press, and then God. And then I'll get to that actually. There's another funny thing. Then when you go to another page, like if you're looking at an item and it's like here's another item that's related to it, or here's a character related to said item, then gives you another ad, but it makes the entire screen like gray and everything else, and it looks like there's an X on the thing itself, but there's actually an X on the border on the top and everything, and there needs to be another wiki for stupid video games that people can edit freely. Like Dark Souls has a bunch of ones that are Fextra Life that work really well, and people really need to just use not fandom wiki. But
That's why we're calling on you, the Oi Podcast listeners, to make our own wiki.
You
We will
need-
not compensate you,
We will
but
not
Lucas will be
compensate
happy.
you. I'll be 5% happy for someone else who partakes in horrible video games you could put 1,000 hours into.
Someone should just rip all of the text off of fandom.wiki and just put it on a different website.
Just plain HTML.
Yeah, exactly. Just somehow just take everything that's already there, make a copy of it, and then just make their new thing and go, here's the new one that I'm going to own. I took all of the, the information not offered up by fandom.wiki, but instead fans, that I'm co-opting it for my own purposes, and I won't put the invasive ads on here. But so long story short, I don't see a lot of ads in my day to day. So I saw a Taco Bell ad, and I don't know if you guys have seen it on, baseball game or whatever, but it was two women who I think they said they were roommates, because I think
Oh, yep.
one of them said
seen
like,
this.
oh, you're like the best roomie ever. It's like one of their birthdays or something. And she brings the other girl Taco Bell breakfast in bed. And I'm like, oh, like that's a nice gesture. And and they're advertising that Taco Bell has breakfast. But the most fucking insane thing in that ad, I cannot get past it in my head, was the fact that she had a breakfast burrito. Okay. Already a risk to eat a breakfast burrito over your bed sheets, okay? Eating anything in bed is a risk. There's crumbs involved, okay? You're going to go to bed that night and you're going to be like, why is there a piece of shredded cheese on my pillow? This is gross. Anyway.
Midnight snack.
She fucking takes a sauce packet and squirts it on her breakfast burrito while she's in bed. And I have not seen a riskier operation in my life. It just upset me. I was like, that is such a bold move to make, to use a sauce packet over your sheets.
The thing with those sauce packets, you can never get it all out. There's always going to be like a little dribble on the rim there.
Right.
If you don't set that down directly on like the paper, that's going everywhere. You're going to look like you bled in bed.
Well, they did have a tray, to be fair. She wasn't eating over the tray, but the food was carried in on a tray, so she could put it down on the tray. But just squirting it is that's crazy. You try to be careful about that at your kitchen counter, and you're going to need to wipe it up with a napkin that was hopefully provided.
No, you eat this over your sink when you're like, God, I'm spiraling out of control.
I get these big ass burritos from a place near my near Berkeley. On my way home, sometimes I'll just like order them on my phone, and then I walk in, I grab it, and I can walk home. And
this kind of underground place, it's called Chipotle. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
It's actually called Boloco, which stands for the Boston Local Company. That's what
Boloco's
Well, mom and pop shop called Moe's.
Southwest Grill.
It's this really cool place it's this really underground arcade called Dave and Buster's.
It's this over the border place.
There's some really niche games, like Fruit Ninja.
Like Fruit Ninja and Flappy Bird.
They use this really cool system where you basically put in this thing that's almost like a credit card, but it's actually just for your
I went to sorry, I'll get back to what you're saying, but I went to a mall with my brother. I went to the main mall, and there's an arcade that they had. I could stop at any time and you wouldn't know. I went to the main mall with my brother, and there's
that's
an
2 episodes in a row where he interrupted you and your response was, I could leave.
As I did it earlier already. I'm a one-trick pony. And they have an arcade in there. It's called it's like one strike 1.1 or whatever, like bowling.
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
up the escalator.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so jarring to be in there because of where we've gone to arcades with the Fun Spot and everything. I'm not used to how a modern arcade functions, and it's so frantic and hectic.
It's bad.
It's a baby casino where everything costs a million things. There's so many games there that are just mobile games. Like I've seen I've seen this on my phone in 2016, and it's now this. There's
I'm playing Doodle Jump in person.
There is a there's like a lumber logging whatever game thing, and there's also games which just pay the million credits to. I mean, it's essentially just the crane game, but 10 times worse, and you get AirPods instead of something that has sentimental value.
That's why we're really lucky to be going to a place like Fun Spot, because the arcades
that has actual games.
Because I've talked to people about I went to an arcade with my friends, and people be like, that's so lame. Arcades they're so expensive and blah blah blah, and you they're so boring and whatever, and the games suck. And I'm like, but I'm going to one where they still have coins and they still have physical tickets, and it's actually a lot of fun, and their skee ball machines are great.
You don't have the world's largest arcade, loser.
Yeah. So that also helps.
Well, there's a place here in Milwaukee. It's a chain called Up Down that I go to all the time with my friends, and it's a barcade. So they have skee ball section. They have huge things of pinball. They don't have any super new games except for
Do they have cards though? So is it like a Dave and Buster's situation?
No, it's coins. You go
That's nice.
They have a coin machine.
That's better.
On my we went there my birthday weekend this year, and they have a thing that says if you have if it's your birthday, we'll give you $5 of free tokens or whatever. And so I just showed the bartender my ID, and I'm like, yeah, yesterday's my birthday, and she's like, okay, cool, and just handed me a bunch of tokens.
That's sick.
It's awesome. And I know you don't drink Max, but it's a barcade too. So they have themed drinks of like pop culture stuff. So like they have a shot that's called like the Yoshi's Island, which is basically just a mini margarita.
The
Or they
Mario
have
beer.
one called like the Hypno Toad.
The
shit like
Luigi
that.
beer.
Yeah, I got the Mario beer.
They got the
But it's
Bowser
cool because they
Boost.
have like
Sorry.
all old games. Like my favorite game, Tapper, is there. They don't have Battlezone though, Max, so it's kind of cringe.
Battlezone's great.
But they do have they like the upstairs is cool because it's like set up so there's like all the like fighting games are in one area, and then the like arcade classics are in one area, like the racing games are in one area, the shooters are in one area.
Yeah, that's good. So it's not just like Flappy Bird.
Yeah, they have like an N64 set up on this
Oh,
huge
sweet.
TV, like in the middle of it.
That's
So you
cool.
can play like Mario Kart with your friends there, and that's just free. What else do they have? Oh, there's NBA Jam there, which is what my friends and I play a lot.
I went to an arcade. I think it was called Pinballs, and it was in Austin. I don't know if it was in Austin or if it was in one of the towns outside Austin. Anyway, near Austin, Texas, or in Austin, Texas, and I went there, and it's like an arcade with the card shit, and I would scan my card, and it would say like remaining balance, and I would like kind of make a mental note of how many tokens, because when we go to Fun Spot, it's just a quarter is a token, and then you get like some free ones, so then it's technically a little bit less if you are smart about it. But I was like, some of the games were like $1.50 to play something that should be 2 tokens. It was fucking ridiculous, and there was like zero payout. So we ran out of tickets or tokens, air quotes, so fast. Credits. We ran out of credits so fast. It was so goddamn annoying. And I was just complaining the whole time. I was like, man, I got to take you to freaking Fun Spot because this arcade sucks.
That's how I felt with the one that I went to before, because they gave you the same card system, but all of the ones there were like wicked expensive that had like X amount of credits and I mean, it was a double-edged sword situation, because all of them were expensive because a lot of them were like giant digital things. Like the good things I'll say about them is they had a lot of the like on-rail shooters. Like they had this like wicked like 4K whatever thing of House of the Dead or something, of like House of the Dead. It was like House of the Dead like 5 or something. It was a new one, but it was still cool. It was still wicked cool. You could like swap weapons and like make a loadout and everything. They had they had like DDR and a bunch of like rhythm stuff. Like I did some DDR with my brother, and then there were these like weeb like Hatsune Miku like whatever like rhythm stuff that was also very fun too. There's this one that you can play that's like this like ring circle. I think that's what has to do with some of it too, is like half a like quarter or like fifth of them or stuff that's imported from Japan, so it probably has to do with some of the price stuff. But there's like this like ring circle thing where you have to like tap on it to go with the rhythm, and then you can like it's almost like it doesn't look like a DJ, but the way you like move your hands around can be like a DJ, like on a record or something, to like go with the rhythm of it. And I dumped a lot of those into there because I was nearly like out of it. I felt like a degenerate, but if it wasn't fun, it was good.
So it's like it's like a rhythm
I'll-
game.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, basically. Yep, it's about
Yeah.
right.
The barcade we go to, they don't have any like prizes or tickets or anything. It's just like pure like game arcade, which is really fun.
I think that's smart for it being a barcade.
Mhm.
Because
They also have like pizza and stuff.
what
and
are
the skee
adults
ball's
going to do
free.
with most of the shit? Most of the prizes are geared towards kids. Just have
Yeah, and
have fun games that aren't ridiculously expensive, and then get people to buy drinks, and then they'll pay more money to play more games because they'll get competitive or something.
But all the games are like one token, so like you're not
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
like we go there buy
Don't
$10
gouge it.
worth of tokens among the whole squad, and we're good.
I was gonna say,
Like-
if you add prizes to a place that has drinks and all of that, you're like, you've got a casino with a bunch of really awkward extra steps and currency and payout. At that point, you've got a casino where you can only buy a microwave with it or something when you're done.
You imagine leaving the bar with a microwave?
Yeah, you can't
What-
you can't cash out your chips at the end of the night. Instead, you have to buy a microwave, and then you need
What-
to go outside and need to find the guy who's buying microwaves.
Yeah, what if during casino, when they're like rapidly trying to get stuff and everything, and Robert De Niro brings them the back and say, "You trying to fuck me over? Are you trying to steal this dragon
You trying to
plush
steal this
from
fucking
me?
toaster?
Do you know? Are you trying to fuck me over and try and steal my finger family? Do
You know how much this finger trap costs?
Do you know how much this rubber sticky hand that sticks to things and comes back at you cost me? More than you'll ever make in your goddamn life.
All
Yeah,
right,
I thought not.
Yeah.
before we have to wrap up relatively soon, so I need to ask a question of Andy. Andy, you recently got a Mac computer.
Oh God,
work.
this is coming. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna debate you on the
No,
on the
I
software.
know
shit.
what's coming.
And that's only because we don't have enough time to.
It's only 'cause we don't have
Yeah,
enough time.
honestly, I could rant about how much I fucking hate it for like 3 hours.
And
guys
you'd be
have to
wrong.
Do that while Lucas and I debate if Fortnite's overrated
Yeah,
or
and
not.
we
Oh,
sniff
dude,
each other's
Fortnite's the
farts
best,
as a
yeah.
joke.
Nope, you're not in that conversation, Lucas and I.
Nope.
So no, but here's okay. I'm asking this question of Andy because all of you are Windows background people mostly. I grew up with Macs, and then I got a gaming computer that was Windows.
Max.
And now
That's
I'm
like your name.
that is it is. Yeah, and now I'm back basically only using a Mac because I use the audio programs and blah blah blah. So
Because you grew up and decided to be cringe.
because I have a cool job and study cool
Yeah.
things.
I'm not gonna say
Anyway,
anything.
I never full screen anything, and I'm
Oh,
wondering.
because it's the full screening is so fucking stupid. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
on a Windows machine, you press the full screen button and it just makes the window the size of it, which you can do by double clicking the top bar. By the
I
way.
figured it the other way. You can hit. Oh, it's not Alt. What is it? Option. On my keyboard, it's Alt. You hit Alt and then the green button. I think is the button. And
Yeah,
it
you can do Alt
maximizes
green
it.
button. You can also just double click the top bar.
Yeah.
So
I was
that's-
actually gonna gripe to you about this today because I noticed there's this annoying. I'm not sure if it's a bug.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have something full screen on the MacBook itself, which is not the main monitor, actually I have a main monitor that's separate. If I have something full screen on that, for example, like a Google Meet or something,
yeah,
and then it ends. When it ends,
it
for
goes
some
to the other
reason,
screen.
yeah, it stays full screen, but then goes to the other screen, so it takes up my entire main screen.
Yeah, it's something.
I don't know
it's
why it
something to
does
do with the
that.
settings that it changes your main monitor. Sometimes if I have both things open, I'll lose my dock. It's fucking annoying. But
So
that's
no, I don't know how. Oh man, it drives me nuts.
it's real bad. But the solution is never do anything in full screen.
Never
But
full screen anything. Yeah, sadly, that's what I figured out.
but also I don't just aesthetically I don't like things being full screen. I you guys have seen like me using just like a Windows, just like a browser on my Windows machine, and I never make it full screen. Because I've always had a 27-inch monitor, and it's just like why does Chrome need to be this gigantic? I have enough real estate if it's smaller. And also I like being able to tile things and then click through them instead of alt tabbing.
That's what I do. Actually, that's something. Tiling stuff was annoying. I noticed because
That's annoying in Windows too. Your Linux machine can tile like a motherfucker. Like it can.
yeah.
Like
Well,
it's
I
so
found
easy.
it. Well, is it Windows 10 that added? Windows 10 added really good tiling. Like you can do like Windows left, up, down, right, and whatever with the arrow keys. and
Yeah,
it'll
I meant more
automatically
layering
snap it.
when I said tiling. By the way,
Oh, I gotcha.
like right now, like Discord, it doesn't take up a whole thing, and then the whole right side of my screen is like all my main folders, so I can still reach those and see those really easily. And then like I have my notes at the bottom, and I can click that, so I can just
Do you
click.
use-
Yeah, I know what you meant, Max.
Do you have
totally.
multiple workstations or workspaces, or I don't know what they actually call them, but do you do the thing with multiple desktops in your mission control?
So I have them. I have a secondary one set up, and sometimes I'll have my interface has an application that's like a mixer. Sometimes I'll have that on that page, so then I can just go back and forth. But for the most part, I just keep everything on one page, and then I just either Command Tab through everything, or click through on my dock. But
Yeah, I got 10 of them. I have 10.
but this is exactly what I was going to talk about with you, Andy. I see people on their laptops in classes and stuff, and everybody here has a MacBook, You get one with part of your first tuition, your first semester tuition. Like you need to pay an extra $1,500 and they give you a MacBook. And I see so many people using stuff in full screen and then swiping through the different pages, and I cannot comprehend how anyone functions like that. I don't get it.
That's the annoying thing to me. I don't like how they do the full screening with mission control. I don't like how it goes to its own special desktop thing. Because like sometimes like the way I do it is I have my code editor. I want to make it full screen. And also I actually modified my full screen so it always shows the top status bar because I like having the time and stuff.
Yes. That's my other pet peeve of why would you ever want to make something full screen, because you lose that and it stresses me out when it's missing.
Yeah, and I need
I
it
walked
for
into a studio the other
music.
day and somebody made Pro Tools full screen, and I looked at the screen and I tried to zoom out. Like I was like, what's wrong here? Something's wrong here. I can't see the bottom of the screen, and I can't see the top of the screen. What's going on? And I realized it was fucking full screened.
Well, my 2 cents with it is I think it's stupid that it looks so bad, because then you just have all that wasted space and you're like, oh, I get to see like the edges of my computer background. It's like, why would you get a monitor that big?
Oh yeah, so the other thing that I wish you could, I don't know,
But why does Discord need to be full screen though? Like I feel like it's just like that. There's a bunch of empty gray space that I can just get rid of, and then I can put something behind it.
I like the uniformity of it.
I just tile my stuff. So what I've actually started doing on my work Mac, since it's not as easy to tile stuff, is I use Spotlight for everything. So I'll just Spotlight to switch through my windows. The only annoying thing is I usually have a couple terminals and like a couple Chrome windows, because I have one for like email and calendar and whatever, and then another workspace I have one for like my GitHub and all that stuff. So I might have like 2, maybe 3 open depending on what I'm doing.
Does yours has the function keys, right?
Yeah, it has the function keys, but since
So
I don't,
F3.
No, I know. But I have mission control on. I actually have a hot corner set up on the top left to do it.
I have bottom left for me.
Well, so the thing I realized. So I also set up hotkeys. So I use not Windows key, Command. I use a regular keyboard, so it still just has a Windows key on it.
Yeah, it's Control. Yeah.
But I use Windows 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to switch between workspaces 1 to 5. So that way I can just zoom through them without having to, because I don't like using the mouse, and you know that. But no, one of the annoying things is I was looking up like, how do I do this with a hotkey? And like, oh, you can't. Just use the gesture on the touchpad. I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid, because I don't use the laptop itself. That's off to the side on a stand.
Yeah, well, there's you can also do Control and the left and right arrows.
Yeah, well. I didn't know that. Yeah, I just do Windows 1 to 5 or whatever. And switch
well, I have a wireless trackpad, so that like if I need to do it, it's just a 4-finger gesture, for me. But I use a trackball primarily, but then I also have a trackpad right there, so I can hit stuff.
But yeah, no. Anyways, one of the things I was saying, that's one of the things that annoys me is the full screening being its own window, because it makes it harder to switch back to, because then I have to use Spotlight to get back to that window.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like always stick my mouse up there and hot corner and whatever.
Well, there's also Command Tab. Like there is Alt tabbing.
There is. I just do. Well, I changed my Spotlight to be Command D, because then I can just bomb it real quick and type the terminal name and hit enter. The first like 3 letters.
I'm surprised that works for you, because sometimes with Spotlight for me, it'll be a closed program, but say I need to open, I don't know, Photoshop, and I type in photo, it comes up with Photo Booth, and then it comes with Photoshop, and then sometimes it doesn't come up with Photoshop at all. Sometimes Spotlight search is the glitchiest motherfucker for me.
So I think it's because my programs are not similarly named at all. Like my terminal is called Kitty, Kitty. So I literally just type KIT enter, and it always works. That's because what other programs can be called Kitty, I guess.
Your adoption agency.
Shit, you're right, actually.
Yeah, but sometimes like I'll have a program on my computer that I'll type in the name of, and then I'll just hit enter, and then it will bring me it'll do like a Google search instead. Like some Spotlight search does not work sometimes.
Yeah, I've never had that problem. Maybe it's I don't know if you have Mac OS 12. Maybe they fixed it in that.
No, yeah, Big Sur 11.6.
The other thing I like noticed I had to do the first day was to make the dock auto hide.
You like the hidden dock?
Okay, so I hate it because it takes way too long to pop back up, which is why I end up using Spotlight Search for everything. Like, it just gets in the way. But it's way too big, and I think it looks stupid when it's always... Like, I know you can make it smaller, but I think it just looks stupid when it's sitting there. I wish I could make it almost be like a Windows bar, where it's small on the bottom, and it just has the programs there, and I can just see them and click through them.
I mean, you can.
Because, well, no, but I'm saying I wish it took up the full width.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it looks goofy with seeing the sides, and it's just it.
I agree.
I don't.
Yeah,
love
if it's too small, then it's like there's so much space on the sides,
and it looks it just looks weird.
But that's why I have things in my dock that I don't necessarily need in my dock. It's just to make the dock a little bit more wide, just for aesthetic purposes.
Well, see, that's why I've ended up using mission control workspaces for everything. I realized, well, I don't really use that many different programs, right? I use like Slack, Spotify, some code editing, and like a couple browsers. So I just basically have them always open in different workspaces, and then I can just switch through them. And I almost never use the dock. I use it maybe a couple times a day. But the stuff on the top's important.
One time I was in a studio, and I needed to get to like Safari to look something up, and my hand was already on the mouse, or it was actually on a trackball, and I just like flicked it down to the bottom of the screen, and then I opened up Safari. And the professor standing over my shoulder was like, you could have command tabbed that, right? And I was just like, yeah, I know, Brian. Calm down. I'm aware. It's okay. But really, what was faster? My other hand was in my lap. The reason why I wanted to bring up full screening is because of when I walked in somewhere and they had Pro Tools actually full screened. So there was no toolbar or dock at the bottom, and it just stressed me out for no reason. It just looked awkward. So that's the thing I wanted to say was there are some applications that if they are not taking up the full screen, they feel weird and wrong. And there's other ones that when they are full screen, it's just incorrect. Like if my Messages app on my computer was taking up the full screen, something's wrong. Like there's no reason for it to be that wide. Like I don't know, but then if Pro Tools is anything other than the biggest it can be, but without being the actual full screen, I just like it's the worst thing in the world. And it's like a sensory issue that I have of like seeing something that is either too big or too small on the size of my screen. I'm just like, nope, can't deal.
Well, that's one of the I noticed that's the thing Mac users do a lot more than other people is having more floating windows instead of like making them maximized.
Yeah, I'm all about floating windows. That's all my shit's floating.
No, I need an anchor.
The way I either do it is since I use an ultra wide for both of my computers, like my personal and my work computer, I either have a floating window in the middle or two tiled windows. Like I can't do one giant window unless it's like a game or
right.
It's like
so that's
code
the thing
broken up into like 4 different panes, because otherwise it's like a tiny little row of text, like a column of text on the middle and just nothing. And it looks so dumb.
So imagine how you feel like if you were to make, Discord the full size of your ultra wide, and you're just like, this is ridiculous. That's how I feel like on the laptop screen.
See, I do it kind of like I always have stuff
full height, fine, but full height and full width, no.
No, I always split stuff in two. Like I have Slack on one half and Spotify on the other half or something.
Yeah, on your ultra wide.
No. On my laptop monitor, no.
Oh, okay.
I Slack and Spotify never.
Because if Slack was taking up half of your ultra wide, that's way too big. That should be It should be floating in the middle and should be just big enough so you can see everything.
No, I just keep it. I keep it off to the side so I can.
He's got 47 Slack channels on deck. 24.
I have
At all
like,
times.
I have like 40 Slack channels. I have a lot of freaking Slack channels.
Yeah, so make it as tall as possible because then you can
I'm not gaslighting.
see as many of those. But then it doesn't need to be very wide.
I'm making a Tower of Babel out of Slack chats. I'm going to reach God, and he is going to punish me by having my Slack chat show up in an unknown tongue.
Anyway.
Kurdish.
Anyway, we
Yeah.
should wrap it up and stop the ridiculous Mac talk about my neuroses of window
Yeah,
sizes.
this has been the Oi podcast with the Apple
edition.
advice section. How to use Apple advice, and I'm trying to pay tribute to my favorite person, Elvis, and so like he would have said, "Oh, thank you very much."
That's more like it.